Hello and welcome. I'm Josephine Corcoran, holistic career coach and astrologer, and I started a recording just before, but Mum called and it cancelled the rest of the recording. So here I am. I'm going to start from the top. It's an enormous week that we are moving into. Hi, Anora. Thanks for joining me. We've got so much going on, and here I am sitting in the very epicenter of the latest COVID outbreak in Australia in Avalon, and it's really extraordinary to me, but it just strikes me that this is such an event that so strongly relates to the solar eclipse that we had that took place last week. And a week ago when we had this solar eclipse, what happens is that the sun's light is taken away for a period of time, and then when the sun's light is brought back and it's in full view, things become known to us that we didn't otherwise see. And sometimes those things happen to us, which are things out of our control. And sometimes things bubble up within inside of us that have us become more conscious of the way we're behaving or the direction that we want to go in. And it's very interesting because with this latest COVID outbreak in Avalon, what's very apparent is it is a very powerful time right now for us to take a pause. And as if this year hasn't already been a year for taking a pause, from going within, for reflecting, for connecting to our heart's desires. But it would seem that the universe is inviting us, particularly those of us in New South Wales, to really slow down even further and use this time to focus on what our heart's desires are, what our heart truly wants to bring to bear, especially into 2021. And today marks the solstice, and it's a very, very significant solstice, and I'm sure many of you who are tuning in are aware of the enormous celebrations or meditation for healing planet Earth that are taking place in Uluru this evening, officially happening at 9:02 when the solstice occurs. So just coming back to what the solstice represents, and today's the 21st of December 2020. And the solstice occurs when the sun is in the sky for the longest period of the time in a day for the whole year. And it happens when the sun moves out of Sagittarius, fiery Sagittarius, which is all about inspiring us and uplifting us and getting us thinking about the vision of things that we want to create and the sorts of things we want to learn about and what we're inspired by. And when the sun moves into Capricorn, where it will be for the next 4 weeks, the focus is very much on now that we have our vision and inspiration, what is it that we want to create? What is it that we want to manifest? And what are the steps that we want to take to make things form? And so with this solstice period, the thing that's so significant is that tomorrow morning at 5:20 a.m. Sydney time, and for other parts of the world will be happening on the same day, on the 21st. But we are going to be having this meeting up of the social planets, Jupiter and Capricorn in Aquarius. And they are meeting up in this air sign, Aquarius, for the first time in 800 years that they are meeting up. Now, Jupiter and Saturn, for those of you who haven't been following the grand conjunction, those two planets symbolize man's social reference system. So it's long been noted that when the planets Jupiter and Saturn come together and create certain aspects in the sky, that shifts in human values tend to happen. And for the last 200 years, they've been meeting up in earth signs. And so earth is very grounded, it's very practical, it's very slow moving, it's very results oriented. But what we've seen with this, once we've moved through that 200-year cycle, is that man has placed a lot of value and worth on material things. And we've gained enormously through the Industrial Revolution. Life's been made a lot easier, but what's happened is people have lost their way and they've lost their intrinsic value set that's been aligned to things within them versus and in valuing humans. So there's been a stronger value to the material things. A lot of people have been placing their self-worth or a really had a strong attachment to the material to feel good about themselves. So with this shift, and there's so many elements to it, but one of the most important things to just be mindful of is that with these two planets moving into air, for the next 200 years they'll meet up in air. Air is a completely different energy altogether. First of all, it represents frequency. So there'll be a stronger value around the energy around us, and really understanding that where we put our thoughts and our mind's attention impacts the experiences we have in life and impacts what comes back to us. Now, for those who I work with, there's a strong alignment with that concept already, but we're going to start to see a shift. And for those of you, for those people out there who focus on the negative or focus on what is wrong, they will tend to attract more and more of that back into their life. For those of you who are out there with a strong heart center, focused on being of service and healing the planet and making a difference to those around you, this new era is built for you. You've chosen to come here to do your greatest work. So it's so exciting to be sitting on the edge of this era. And in Uluru tonight, there is a very, very special ceremony. And in my newsletter, if you want to download the dates and timings of what's going on this week, I've put a little bit of a meditation or ritual that I found online by a woman who's been advised by Indigenous elders. And she just talks through the sorts of things that you can be doing tonight to create your own meditation, to put your healing energy back into the world, to support Mother Earth healing herself. I'm going to be doing that this evening. I'm so looking forward to it. I'm going to use a lot of today to be really strongly sitting in that frequency and that vibration of healing and healing the earth, because we all draw from her. We draw inspiration from her. We draw food from her. We draw life's force from her. And this special meditation that's happening, this healing, is going to really be combining the energy of the sun and the earth together as one. And so there's a lot to be read there. So if you want to download my little newsletter, there's something there for you to work with. Okay, I'm going to be talking more about the Great Conjunction and what that means professionally for all of us. I'm going to be doing a webinar at some point in January. I haven't landed on the exact timing of when that will be, so stay tuned. If you're interested in hearing about that, just make sure you sign up to my newsletter, because I always make note of what kind of events are coming up there. Okay, so in terms of other things that are happening this week, what we do have is the planet Mercury is actually moving into Capricorn as well. So Mercury represents where we put our mind's attention to, the things we're thinking about. So with the sun moving into Capricorn and putting a focus on what we want to build, what we want to create, the Mercury is following the sun, so there'll equally be this focus on where we tune into our thinking. What sorts of practical steps can we be thinking about taking to put things into action? Also, Mars continues its journey through Aries, but on the 24th, on Christmas Eve, Mars is going to be making another square to Pluto. Now, what this means in layman's terms is there's going to be some additional tension around that power play, potentially bringing up frustration. Maybe there'll be some anger that's going down, but essentially, really, it's the result of the current situation that you find yourself in, whatever the frustration that is that's coming up inside of you. Use the 24th to totally go within, to tap into your own personal power, because Pluto symbolizes the personal power we have available within us. And Pluto in a lot of ways symbolizes the deep feminine energy within us, that ability, that very fertile ability of the feminine to create a space for new things to form and to grow. So totally tap into that on energy on the 24th, even if you feel as if you're frustrated. Take time out to breathe and to go within. And also this week, Venus continues her journey through Sagittarius. So she's going to want to be having great conversations with people and engaging in relationships that inspire her. I've just noticed in my notes that I've got Mercury in Sagittarius, but Mercury is actually in Capricorn all week. Okay, so let's look at void of course activity. Now this week, because we're close to Christmas, I know so many of you are still wrapping things up to get them done by Christmas. If that is the case, I'll just give you these dates and bear those in mind for times to try and rest. For those of you who are not going crazy like a bat out of hell to try and get things done prior to Christmas, I really urge you with these void of course times to totally stop. Really try and use this energy to just rest and to reset, because essentially that's what's meant to happen when the moon is void of course. So over the summer break, use the void of course moon to really, really rest. So let's look at the time frame. So today the moon is void of course from 9:24 p.m. until the end of the day, and then it's void of course all morning tomorrow morning until 9:32 a.m. Wednesday on the 23rd, it's not void of course. On Thursday, it's void of course Christmas Eve all day pretty well from 9:50 a.m. in the morning till 9:55 p.m. On Christmas Day, it's not void of course, so good for being active. But then on Boxing Day, it's void of course from 10:31 p.m. until the end of day. And then on Sunday, it's void of course up until 10:32 a.m. Just download the PDF if you want to just keep a note of what those time frames are. So finally, just in terms of the moon this week and its activity, today being Monday, the moon is in Pisces all day, which is wonderful for the activation of Uluru and for us really doing as much meditation as we possibly can and intention setting with the moon in Pisces, because the moon in Pisces feels things very deeply and it really allows us to move between the 3D realm and the outer realms and universal energy. So that's all day today, Monday. Tuesday, the moon moves into Aries, so that's a completely different energy. Aries is much more about an action orientation and getting things started and moving towards things. So that'll probably be helpful if you still need to get some things done before Christmas. Wednesday, the moon is in Aries all day until Thursday. It moves on Christmas Eve. It moves into Taurus at 9:55 in the morning. I thought this is appropriate, having the moon in Taurus for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, because Taurus loves nothing better than fine wine, fine food, beautiful music and lovely things around. So just sink into being really grateful for those yummy material things that activate all of your senses on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and then on Boxing Day. And then on the 27th, the moon will be moving into Gemini. Lovely for connecting with friends and chatting and catching up. So that's a wrap for the week of Christmas. I wanted to wish all of you a wonderful, wonderful Christmas period. From the bottom of my heart to yours, thank you so much for everything you've done to support me this year. I have loved my Astrology for Business weekly forecast activity this year, and I'm really going to be expanding on this and working with this more next year. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for your feedback. I really appreciate everything that you, hearing what you love about this. And if you've got any thoughts on any other kind of insight that maybe is helpful for you from a professional perspective, and obviously this each week when I talk, it's not just about work. It is as much about our personal lives, because we can't separate the two. And in this new era where the pace of energy is going to be growing and things will be happening much faster, and there'll be a stronger vibration around collaboration and connection and humanitarian issues and sustainability, there'll be a lot more flexibility in how we operate and connect with others. So thank you. I will be back again next Monday. Have an amazing week. Stay safe, stay well, stay clear with your intentions, operate from your heart. I send you an enormous hug down the phone, and I will see you all soon. Bye for now.